Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so after Qyburn's therapy, concoctions, and no small amount of leeches, because you gotta have leeches, Jaime is as good as new. Well, sort of. For now, he seems to be in slightly less agony as he's entering Harrenhal bathhouse. See, they got this facility at Harrenhal, Roman bath, Turkish bath type thing, with large stone baths. And Brienne is already there, scrubbing like there's no tomorrow, almost angrily, because the stench of those bloody mummers who handled her won't come off. Other readers theorize that it might be because she's unhappy with the shape of her own body. But be it as it may, she seems even less pleased when Jaime enters the bathhouse, because, can't a person have some privacy around here? She's probably thinking as she's covering her breasts, rather. Not that there was a lot of privacy for Brienne to begin with, because there already was a hatchet-faced woman attending her, or rather guarding her, because these two are still captives in here, remember. And Jaime is also being escorted by a guard, which is kind of handy, no pun intended, as he does need someone to help him out of his hobo clothes, what with his remaining hand, the left one, which in his own words is good for nothing. But once he's butt naked, he orders both attendants, the dude and the hatchet-faced woman, to leave. And somehow they obey, which is kind of weird. I mean, don't they have their orders, those two, to keep an eye on the hostages? But anyway, Jaime explains that there's this dinner invitation to have supper with Roose Bolton, and one has to look presentable when your captor invites you for dinner in his main hall. I get it, Jamie Bond. This is a 007 trope, isn't it? Will Jaime and Brienne be told to wear some futuristic outfits, and then at dinner, Roose will tell Jaime things like, "We're not so different, you and I." Think about it. Are you picturing that? Harrenhal as one of those sets designed by Ken Adams, early 60s Bond. Anyway, as per usual, here's my welcome to you, dear listener. Welcome to Jaime V from A Storm of Swords, a chapter that, pivotal as it is, with regards to the story in general, but more specifically for the character Jaime, as pivotal as it is, it's still a source of puzzlement for me. Both parts of this chapter are a source of puzzlement for me, because there are two distinct parts. The one here in the bathhouse and one at Roose's dinner table. But let's proceed in order. So Jaime dismisses both employees, especially the male guard, because, it's not cool to stare at Brienne's breasts, as the guy was apparently doing. Only Jaime gets to do that, and it's cool when he does it. We're in his head right now, and that's the vibe I get of what he's thinking right now. In fact, George R. R. Martin makes it a point to point out that Jaime's eyes are well open as he awkwardly, gets into the bathtub. The very same bathtub used by Brienne. But it's all right, you see, because he's not attracted to her, or so he claims. What with her skin all bruised, purple and green. Yeah, look who's talking, mate. You don't exactly look $1 million yourself, Jaime boy. But she goes, couldn't you pick another tub, mate? Says Brienne, because there's like half a dozen tubs here. After the fashion of the free cities, which I think reinforces the Turkish bath, image. Because, look at the shape of the continent. Isso, however you pronounce it. It's kind of shaped like Turkey, isn't it? The free cities standing in for the key cities between Europe and Asia. Here in our own universe, Tyrosh could be like kind of like a bit like Istanbul in its location, isn't it? Anyway, my 2 cents. But he goes, yeah, Jamie does. Yeah, there's a reason I climbed into this same bathtub as you. You know, Stomp is still aching like crazy, so I need you to keep an eye on me in case I pass out from the pain. I don't fancy a Jim Morrison type of death. But Brienne scoffs, and turns her back on Jamie in a disdainful way. She goes, huh. And Jamie's all like, come on. Hey, is it my Stomp you can't bear looking at? Yeah? Because let me tell you, the hand that used to be in its place was worse, yeah? It's the hand that did the deeds, so to speak. It killed King Aerys, pushed Bran Stark off the windowsill, pleasured my sister Cersei. It had a great resume, this hand of mine, before it and I went 2 separate ways. She's still turning her back on him in the meantime. All right, so you said you don't care if I drown in this sodding tub, huh? But isn't your job description to safely escort me to King's Landing? Not very professional of you to turn your back on a person you're supposed to protect, huh? And then he says something that really pisses Brienne off, because he goes, hey, no wonder Renly was whacked on your watch, huh? If you turn your back on people under your charge. Uh-huh. Now that made me wonder about Renly's untimely demise. How much of the whole narrative does Jaime actually know? Because Catelyn did say to him, Renly is dead, murdered at Bitterbridge by his brother through some black art I do not understand. That's in Clash of Kings, Catelyn 7. So he knows that much. But did it never occur to him to ask Brienne, what the hell did she mean by some black art? So was it or wasn't it Stannis? So anyway, I think it's safe to assume he doesn't know that Brienne is accused by general consensus to have actually murdered Renly herself. Or he would have used that rumor to further, taunt Brienne. No? Don't you think? Be it as it may, the taunting is effective enough as it is, because Brienne stands up in a rage, forgetting to cover her breasts this time, which weirdly gives Jaime an erection, or not quite an erection, but what does Louis C.K. call it? That feeling when it starts to turn over a little bit. Unfolding like like a pool toy that's been blown for a while. Wrinkles starting to come out, taking shape. Okay, all right, okay. Enough graphic descriptions. Yeah. Although, to be fair, there is one other graphic description, as we learn that Brienne's pubic hair matches the color of her blonde hair. Jaime is quick enough to remark both these details. And for the quasi-sexual arousal, he blames the fact that he's been away from Cersei for too long. All right, Jaime boy. If you say so. Anyway, he just goes, all right, okay, chillax. No need to make waves in the jacuzzi. No, actually, no. He does apologize. He apologizes a lot more profusely than that. Here, let me read you out the quote. That was unworthy. I'm a maimed man and bitter. Forgive me, wench. You protected me as well as any man could have, and better than most. There. Which is actually a first. First time he ever apologizes to her, And Brienne, given what's been going on between them so far, the bitterness, the sarcasm, etc., she naturally doesn't accept even an apology from Jaime without a full body search. Yeah, so she goes, hey, you're still just taking the piss, aren't you, Jaime boy? she says, no matter how he tries to explain that he wants a truce, that they should be cool to each other for a change, all pissed off as well, because, I mean, the one time he's actually apologizing and means it, and Brienne doesn't take him seriously. No. That won't do at all. But then they get into politics, because she goes, truce and honesty, maybe trust, you being the Kingslayer and all. Yeah, okay, all right. You all keep yakking about me killing the king, yeah? This is Jaime talking. But I don't hear anyone addressing the fact that it was Robert who rebelled against his own king to begin with, huh? He reaped the rewards. But no, Robert was so awesome. Robert was so cool. Robert this and Robert that. Have you noticed, dear listener, have you noticed how much bottled resentment there is? Enough to go around for everybody. Bottled resentment towards the late King Robert, and how successful he was in everything. There's a resentment at how popular and successful he was. When his star was on the rise, that is, before his decline. Because if you're reading these chapters in order, in the book, you've just come from that Davos POV chapter where we had that rant from Stannis, and boy, does he have a chip on his shoulder. And now Jaime. It's all coming out now, that resentment, isn't it? But Robert, Brienne has an answer for that, right? Robert did it all for love, love for Lyanna Stark, says Brienne, who clearly never missed an issue of Westeros, gossip magazines. Yeah, right. Jaime is skeptical. Yeah, right. Tell that stuff to the tourists. No, but really, man, yeah, he saved the realm, he did, yeah. And that's what pushes Jaime over the edge, because he proceeds to drop the bomb with a capital B. He thinks, want to hear who actually saved the realm? Yeah, I'll tell you who saved the realm. Good old me, that's who. Well, at least the capital and administrative city of the realm, to be precise. All the while thinking to himself, why am I even telling her this secret that I've been guarding for all these years? I thought I was going to take it to the grave. He blames the heat, the steam, whatever. So here's the story. We hear about Jon Connington again, Hand of the King, that was named after Tywin Lannister resigned. Not immediately after. There was that Merryweather guy in between, but we don't deal with him here. Anyway, it was after that Battle of the Bells that we first heard mentioned in that Arya chapter in this same book. The battle at Stony Sept, which Jon Connington lost, and consequently he was exiled by Aerys. It was then that the latter, Aerys, reckoned the war was not going his way, apparently. Actually, Jaime doesn't quite start this story from the beginning of the end of the Targaryen rule, but rather from a tangent. His first bullet point is wildfire, used by his brother Tyrion to set the Blackwater on fire. That's right, that stuff burns on water. Yeah, it's kind of napalm, isn't it? It might seem like an unrelated point, but you and I know that it's actually key to the story, given how fond Aerys was of the substance, as the pyromancers call it. So yeah, Barristan Selmy, commander of the Kingsguard, went and tried to salvage whatever he could from Stony Sept, after Jon Connington's defeat, while a 10,000-strong Dornish army marched up the King's Road, ready to fight for the crown under the leadership of another Kingsguard, Sir Lewin Martell. And all the while, and while all that was happening, Prince Rhaegar rode back to King's Landing, back from Dorne. in his, shall we say, honeymoon with the above-mentioned Lyanna Stark at the Tower of Joy. Not exactly a happy ending for that story either, huh? So once back at King's Landing, Rhaegar was all like, oh, hi, oh, what did I miss? Anything good? Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, all right, yeah. Oh, you know what, Dad? Maybe it's time you buried the hatchet with Tywin Lannister, huh? What do you think? Come on, you two have had your differences, but send him a text, He'll come and save the day. As in, light the beacons and Gondor will answer. Yeah, except that this isn't that sort of novel. In fact, talk about bad ideas, eh? We know how that went. But so, to sum up, these three members of the King's Guard were down in Dorne, guarding Lyanna in the Tower of Joy. Jon Darry and Barristan Selmy, as we know, were busy in Stony Sept. Lewin Martell was with the Dornishmen. You do the maths. Do the maths. All members of the King's Guard were away. And the only one left in the Red Keep, tasked with defending Aerys and Son, was none other than 15-year-old Jaime. And meanwhile, no reply was coming from Tywin. So at that point, Aerys just went, oh shit. And that's when he hatched his dastardly plan. So, about the wildfire, yeah? Here's another passage I just have to read for you. Check it out. So His Grace, this is still Jaime. There you go. So His Grace commanded his alchemists to place caches of wildfire all over King's Landing, beneath Baelor's Sept and the hovels of Flea Bottom, under stables and storehouses, at all 7 gates, even in the cellars of the Red Keep itself. Everything was done in the utmost secrecy by a handful of master pyromancers. They did not even trust their own acolytes to help. That is a lot of wildfire. To the point that the new hand of the king, we're losing count here, dear listener, Lord Chelstead, this one, he wised up and he had the temerity to confront Aerys about it. What's going on here with all this wildfire coming and going? There's master pyromancers coming and going. So he confronted Aerys, his evil plan. He finally had it revealed to him, to create this. Aerys' plan was to create this false flag / inside job type thing, and kaboom, set the whole of King's Landing ablaze in wildfire. Civilians, gold cloaks, civilians included, everyone, not just invading armies. So, Chelstead confronted Aerys and resigned when he realized there was no way to talk him out of the mad plan, him being the Mad King, and Chelstead was burned to death for it, for resigning, basically. So, yeah. See, at this point, being a hand to a king like Aerys was becoming less and less of a cushy job, Compare with the previous two. I mean, Orton Merryweather failed to contain the Baratheon rebellion. Punishment, exile. Okay, tick. John Connington lost the Battle of the Bells. Punishment, exile. Carlton Chelstead, lovely name by the way, refused to go along with the plan of burning King's Landing in wildfire and resigned as Hand of the King. Punishment, burned alive. You can kind of see how Aerys was getting increasingly mad here. Next Hand might have been in danger of being blown to bits just for saying, I don't know, oh, you're Grace, you have something in your teeth. So, and indeed, the Next Hand was the head of the pyromancers, this Rossard guy, because why not? Why not? At this point, why not nominate a hand who actually made wildfire, Aerys being so fond of it and all. And Jaime, being the only remaining King's Guard in the throne room, he had a front row seat to all these machinations, Rossart, gleeful, showing Ares all the spots in King's Landing where jars and jars of the substance were supposed to be placed, to maximize the damage. So basically, when the news that Robert Baratheon had knocked the shit out of Prince Rhaegar in the Trident, when the news finally reached Ares, that's when the latter figured, okay, all is lost. Time for my cyanide capsule. Because, the analogy with Hitler in his final bunker days are kind of like unmistakable here. Except that in Ares' case, there was also, an offspring to take care of. His last surviving son of the zillion sons he had from his wife, Queen Rhaella, his last remaining son being Viserys. Some people pronounce it Viserys. I'm not sure. Do you think that's right? Oh, not to mention Rhaella herself, who had a bun in the oven, Although I'm not sure whether Aerys was even aware that Rhaella was pregnant with their daughter Daenerys. He probably wasn't. So he packed wife and kid Viserys off to Dragonstone, where they would be safe, supposedly, while his son Rhaegar's wife, Elia Martell, was forced to remain there in the Red Keep with her two children, Rhaenys and Aegon, the latter being just an infant. And all of that stuff will be sort of important in future books. Elia Martell, being forced to stay there, more like a hostage than a guest at this point, because Aerys, paranoid as he was, blamed Rhaegar's death on some kind of Dornish betrayal, more specifically a betrayal from Lewin Martell, Elia's father. Not to mention Doran's and Oberin's father. So yeah, at this point Elia Martell was forced to stay and take part in this self-obliteration plan. Set the entire city ablaze, including the Red Keep, Aerys, Elia, the kids, the pyromancers, Jaime, everyone. In the good old words of Gary Oldman, from Leon. And in fact, actually, Jaime reckons that Aerys was so batshit crazy that he didn't even think he was going to die, but simply, turn into a dragon. Cuckoo, like that other Targaryen before him, Aerion Brightfire. Aerion Brightfire, who, or Aerion Targaryen, to use the name as printed on his passport. First-time reader at the time this book was published, didn't have much to go on this Aerion Targaryen, aside from a chapter in A Clash of Kings, Jon 6, more precisely. That's when Lord Commander Mormont explains to Jon that Maester Aemon was on the line of succession to the Iron Throne, and we're treated to a long list of other successors. First time we hear the name Aerion is when Jon goes, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, Aerion the monster, not Aerion the monstrous, the prince who thought he was a dragon, isn't it? Yeah, that's right, yep." And then we learn from Lord Commander Mormont, we learn that one night in his cups he drank a jar of wildfire, as you do, after telling his friends that it would transform him into a dragon. But the gods were kind, and it transformed him into a corpse. Yeah, what do you expect? Yeah, watch me drink this jar of petrol. Yeah. And then we briefly hear this guy again mentioned by Alistair Florent to Davos Seaworth, while they're sharing a cell in Dragonstone, But anyway, it was at this point that Tywin Lannister's army finally arrived. And Aerys opened the gates for him, Imagine the scene. "Oh, what took you so long? Quick, come inside the city. Defend us." Slaughter. That's it. Because, as we know, at this point, Tywin, preferring to side with the winners, had decided that, given that Rhaegar's army had been defeated on the Trident, the winning side was definitely not Aerys. So as soon as his army got inside the city, they proceeded to sack the shit out of it and commit various atrocities, for which the Lannister army is well renowned. So yeah, so here's Jaime, picture that, in full knowledge that the city is about to be enveloped in a huge pyre of wildfire. And on top of that, he's reached by a messenger. He's out there somewhere, and he's reached by a messenger who's telling him, hi, Jaime, hi. I come on behalf of His Grace, King Aerys, mad fellow, yeah. Okay, so yeah, latest update on your duty roster for the day. Yeah, he would really like you to go ahead and bring him your father's head. Yeah, no, just a head. So yeah, if you could do that, yeah, it would be great. Oh, and he also said he's with Rossard, the pyromancer, and all is ready. Not sure what that last part meant, but yeah. He said you'd understand. All right, I'm off. Bye. So yeah, are you picturing that, dear listener? And that's when Jaime had to do some quick thinking on his feet, So off he went, straight to the throne room again. And that's when he whacked first Rossard and then His Grace himself, hence becoming the Kingslayer. Not only that, but a couple of days later, apparently, he also had to track down the other two pyromancers who had instructions to detonate the doomsday device, even if the chain of command was disrupted, just like in precisely like in that case, if the chain of command was disrupted, other pyromancers had the order to carry out the destruction. So yeah, he also whacked the other two alchemists, Billis and Garrigus. Such geeky names. You can only be a pyromancer with a name like that. And what a busy week for Jaime, huh? And this is the act that makes Jaime not simply the Kingslayer, but also and primarily the savior of the city of King's Landing. And this is also where the first-time reader understands a line from Jaime all the way back in A Clash of Kings, Catelyn 7, which I've quoted again and again, where he says, I think it passing odd that I am reviled by so many for my finest act. That's not the full quote, but we'll get to the rest of it in due time. But yeah, here we get to my first source of puzzlement in this chapter, because at this point every first-time reader goes, oh my god, no way, I have to reassess everything I thought I knew, all of the things. Oh George. Yeah. Okay, I mean that's how a first-time reader is expected to react at this point. And I heard it and read it in I don't know how many reviews, podcasts, the reaction always being the same. Every single reviewer remembering exactly where they were and how time stopped for them when they read this Jaime's account, and so on and so forth. But you know what? I'll tell you the truth. Disappointingly, not me. That was not my reaction. I don't know how, but that didn't come as a shock to me. Neither because I'm smarter and I could sort of, I figured it out before it was clearly spelled out. No. Nor because I'm dumber and somehow I didn't take the full significance of those facts on my first read. No. But the mystery to me is how I thought I always knew that Jaime had prevented a wildfire genocide of sorts. Because for years I kept thinking, yeah, it was in the text, somewhere. If you know how to read between the lines. I mean, every single threefold revelation placed into text by George R.R. Martin might have gone way over my head on my first and second read, but not this one. No, this one didn't escape me. And I felt all proud of myself, except that no. There really isn't a whole lot in the text for me to have guessed that whole thing. No, what I think happened is probably this. When I got around to starting to read this series of books, I had already watched that first episode, the first season episode from the HBO series where Robert challenges Jaime, asking, "What did the Mad King say to you when you stabbed him in the back?" And to which Jaime replied, he said the same thing he'd been saying for hours. Burn them all to death, or something along those lines, And therefore, I had this sort of false memory of having read that King Aerys had this genocidal plot involving burning people alive, right from book one. I just didn't know the scale of it. All right, granted, but something to that effect was already in the back of my mind. So in fact, by the time I got to read about Daenerys' vision in the House of the Undying, I shrugged my shoulders and went about my life as usual, because I thought, sure, that particular vision is referred to Daenerys' mad father. Meh. What else is new? Oh, sorry, that's right. Sorry, before I forget. This is the chapter where one of the various visions Daenerys has in the House of the Undying, in good old Karth, back in A Clash of Kings, finally makes sense. Hang on, got it right here. Let me read it to you. Beyond loomed a cavernous stone hall. This is the vision, the largest she had ever seen. The skulls of dead dragons looked down from its walls. Okay, throne room. Okay, upon a towering barbed throne sat an old man in rich robes, an old man with dark eyes and long silver grey hair. Let him be king over charred bones and cooked meat. How's that? How's my King Aerys? No, of course, I forgot. No, it's supposed to be like a Palpatine kind of, let him be king over charred bones and cooked meat, he said to a man below him. Let him be king of the ashes. That man below him being none other than Jaime, we are given to understand, right? Or do you think it was Rossart, maybe? So anyway, listening to all this account, Brienne is like every first-time reader, except yours truly, unfortunately. Like I should have been. She's shocked, at those news, which she doesn't recall reading on any Westeros-based gossip mag. Why did you never tell anyone the full story, Jaime? I mean, this is huge, man. Yeah, not to mention the fact that most of those jars of wildfire are still there, by the way. Yeah, okay. I mean, we know this was a first time I learned. This is the kind of news I learned of for the first time. I mean, we know that Tyrion somehow raked up a few hundred, which he randomly found here and there while preparing his offensive on the Blackwater. Remember back in Clash of Kings, in Tyrion 5, the pyromancer Helain tells Tyrion, okay, here we go. Let's go. Loads of quotes today. Here's the quote. Much of the stock we made for Aerys was lost. Only last year, 200 jars were discovered in a storeroom beneath the great sept of Baelor. No one could recall how they came there. And we do know now. So those were acquired by Tyrion, and now we make sense of what Helain was saying back then. It's not that the stock was lost in the sacking of the city. It was simply placed in a secret location, in various secret locations. So anyway, the jars under the Sept of Baelor are accounted for. Much later, still in A Clash of Kings, but Tyrion 11 this time, another 300 jars are found in the Dragon Pit, definitely part of that batch. Some whores have been used. This is Helain, who says, here's the. We have been most fortunate, my lord. And Helain goes. Another cache of Lord Rossart's was found, more than 300 jars. under the dragon pit. Some whores have been using the ruins to entertain their patrons, and one of them fell through a patch of rotted floor into a cellar. And when he felt the jars, he mistook them for wine. Now there's a guy who makes lemonade when life hands him lemons. So he thought, oh, this must be wine. Ha ha, my luck is beginning to turn. He decorked it. And he was so drunk, he broke the seal and drank some. Okay, that's not something I would recommend. Again, it's petrol. I hope it's patted right out. I kind of like this guy. Ever an optimist, whatever his name was, or he is. I don't know. At which Tyrion just shrugs his shoulders and goes, meh, okay. The dragon pit, you say? Well, the dragon pit atop the hill of Rhaenys has been abandoned for a century and a half. I suppose it was as good a place as any to store wildfire, and better than most. But it would have been nice if the late Lord Rossart had told someone. But no, Tyrion, you see, it was top secret. And the purpose was not storage, So anyway, those other 300 jars are also accounted for, and they were all used on the Blackwater. The Sept jars and the Dragon Pit jars. But what about those, under the hovels of Flea Bottom, under stables and storerooms, at all 7 gates, even in the cellars of the Red Keep itself? Because if those haven't been found through random chance, that means that the whole of King's Landing is basically sitting on a ticking bomb. Okay, I will admit, as I said it, I'll repeat it, I'll say it again. That bit was new. I didn't know about that. No, that bit was new even to me. That at least the HBO series hadn't, spoiled that part for me. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so Brienne goes, yeah, why did you never tell anyone? To which Jaime's like, yeah, right, yeah, to tell who? Or surely whom? Who was I supposed to tell? I think you mean whom. Okay, right, I said it. No, but he goes, yeah, whom was I supposed to tell? Goody Two-Shoes, Ned Stark? Ha! The minute he walked into the throne room, he decided I was guilty. Kingslayer, shit for honor, and yada, yada, yada. That same moment we have already read about, both from Eddard's and Jaime's POV. Remember? Ned walking on the throne room and Jaime sitting on the barbed throne himself, going, yeah, no, that's all right. I was just keeping it warm for you, mate. I don't find it all that comfortable. But Jaime has a fit. Just thinking about Eddard Stark gets him in a rage. So he's all dizzy and he tries to get out of the tub, except he trips and bangs his stomp on the stone, which must hurt like hell. And Brienne grabs him and calls for help. Oi! Oh, that's what she goes. Oi! Anyone out there? The Kingslayer is doing poorly. Can we have some help here? A little help? To which Jaime utters, or no, rather thinks, the famous line that ends this half of the chapter. Jaime, my name is Jaime. You call me by my regular name, all right? Well done, Jaime. Well done. You know what? Good for you. Welcome to the next step of your character arc. Reclaiming your identity and whatnot. Every new chapter is a reboot for this guy, rebooting Jaime. Although really, all Brienne meant to say, in my humble view, was, hey, how about at some point over the past 16 years, how about telling about this wildfire buried under various locations underneath King's Landing? Say, I don't know, telling maybe the gold cloaks off the top of my head, whose task is indeed to enforce the city's safety, Isn't that, yeah? Maybe you could have told them, you didn't have to necessarily tell Ned Stark, but okay. That's what I think she meant, tell someone, there's other people in King's Landing, not just, Ned Stark 15 years ago, You've had 15 years to tell someone. Just saying, yeah. So anyway, so Jamie's about to faint, predictably, out of the excruciating pain. So Qyburn arrives, surveys the situation, and prescribes some stuff, blah, 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 maester stuff. Except he's not quite a maester, Qyburn. Technically, he's not even allowed to practice because the Citadel removed his chain. So he must have did some. In the words of Chris Rock. That stand-up where he talks about bullet control as opposed to gun control, bullet control. Anyway, Brienne volunteers to wash him and dress him up. Everyone, sighing from relief because, they didn't fancy that task themselves. And, so fresh clothes are brought for both of them. When Brienne slips into the gown they bought for her which was clearly cut for a different type, for a different body type woman, but it's super unflattering. Let's just say that Brienne goes through the opposite of a makeover, and this is the first time Jaime sees her wearing anything other than iron mail armor. So he's thinking, has so many cruel jokes. Nah. Better shut up right now. She could totally She could totally kick my ass. Although, dear listener, what do you think? Yeah, is this really the reason he will be keeping cruel jokes to himself? This once? I don't know. Jaime, he is also equipped with an invigorating tonic to sip from time to time. Licorice steeped in vinegar with honey and cloves. What, no garlic this time? You're slacking, Qyburn. Even Jaime cracks a joke. I don't suppose I could have the hand regrowth potion? Just drink the bloody thing. Drink it! Down in one. So he gulps it. And they're led to the main hall at Harrenhal. The main hall at Harrenhal. And this, dear listener, is where part two of this chapter begins. Now, will you excuse me while I reach for a Kleenex? It's gonna blow my nose. Excuse me. How rude of me. But what are you gonna do? Excuse a sec. Hey, winter is coming, isn't it? Yeah, I know. Okay, so Harrenhal, the main hall at Harrenhal. The place is huge. We first saw it briefly through the eyes of Arias when she was employed as a cupbearer to Roose Bolton. Before she stole Roose's dagger and ran away with Gendry and Hot Pie, plus 3 stolen swords and horses. Let's remember that for later. Anyway, it was all in Clash of Kings, Area 10, and then she first saw the main hall, and when she saw it, she was like, "Wow!" Because apparently it's large enough to entertain an army. Must be tough to keep it warm when you think about it. Or would be if it wasn't for those 35 hearths. Yeah, there's a reason why they have 35 of them. Seriously, 35, or was it 33? One loses count in there. Anyway, it's one every 10 feet or so. So that should give you an idea of the sheer size of that hole. And they're not even lit. So yeah, what's the point? And there he is, Lord Roose Bolton himself, fascinating character. But he's so minimalistic, in his interior decoration style. He doesn't know how to furnish the place, really. He uses the hall not to entertain an army, but as a dining room, just for himself, And the only piece of furniture in there is the table and chairs. Right in the middle of the hall. Waiters have to walk like a mile to bring him his food. Anyway, There he is, and I told you, it's a James Bond trope. The villain is there, sitting at the table, soft-spoken. Please be seated. Except the trope is deconstructed here. Only slightly, just slightly. No, but I'm thinking about the wine here in particular. Because the villain, in Bond movies, the villain is usually offering top-shelf quality wine to Bond. Like, this is a Dom Perignon 55, Bond. To which Bond, goes all smug on the villain, and he goes, I prefer the 53 myself. No, I will not be doing a Sean Connery impression. I think every single human being has attempted it at some point in their lives. Okay, so now this is Dom Perignon 55. I prefer the 53 myself. And years later, Roger Moore is told, this is a Dom Perignon 64. And again, Moore, this time, replied, I prefer the 62 myself. Oh, come on, Bond. Come on, you're not fooling anyone. That is such a bluff. You don't know shit. You're just subtracting 2 years every time. I bet it's in his training manual. Always say you happen to prefer a vintage that came out 2 years prior to whatever vintage they're offering you. Yes, okay, I said wine. I do realize that the Dom Perignon is champagne, yes. Okay, champagne being a kind of wine, nonetheless. Dear listener. So anyway, yeah, all right. No, but Roose Bolton, he doesn't say any of that. This is Dom Perignon 64. He goes, he just flat out admits, you know what, this wine is a bit crap. Unfortunately, Sir Jamie, that Amory Lorch, you know the guy, squinty pig eyes, the guy your father put in charge of this place before I took over and fed him to a black bear. True story. While he was in charge, he practically drank the cellar dry. Pissed every night he was. But do help yourself to some cheese, fruits, cold meats and whatnot. I have a whole ploughman's lunch set out for us. But anyway, Brienne just has water. Party animal, that one. And Roose has Hippocras. I actually had to look that one up to find out it's basically mulled wine. The way I make it anyway. It's the cinnamon and nutmeg and this and that, a bit of sugar or honey ideally. Anyway, so yeah. And Jamie's the only one drinking regular wine. Red, of course, Lannister red. He picks the red kind, which he immediately spills because he reaches for it with a stomp. Can't blame him, really. Last time he drank wine from a proper goblet at that, he still had his right hand. So, habits die hard. What can you do? And Roose acts all cool and pretends not to notice. Try one of these prunes from an inn we sacked and set on fire, because that's how we roll. Or rather, that's how Vargo Hout rolls, That charming man at my employ. Anyway, Jamie, what am I going to do with you, Sir Jamie? My duty as a sworn man to King Robb Stark would compel me to deliver you right back to Riverrun, huh? And in the process, collect the 1,000 golden dragons his uncle... Gold dragons, rather. Yeah. His uncle Edmure Tully is offering for you. Yeah. So, can't be bad. However, this is still Roose, yeah. However, I'm also, there's also all those other offers to consider, I'm also considering those for some reason. Like that from Robb's newly sworn enemies, the Karstarks, Rickard Karstark's daughter, as a bride in exchange for your head. Not to mention the reward your sister would offer, as you are predictably sane, Sir Jaime, because that's your usual line. Yeah, Jaime does say that. Lannister gold, we always pay our debts, blah, 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 blah. Interesting, by the way, that you should say your sister and not your father. Jaime. If I had a moustache, I'd be twirling it right now. But no, somehow I'm not going to do any of those things, which should really give pause even to a first-time reader as to where my loyalty really lies. My loyalties really lie. You see, Roose Bolton is being very meta right now. He's addressing the first-time reader. I said, aren't you wondering why I'm not giving you right back to where you escaped from, i.e. River Run? With or without the gold dragons, because, I should do it, out of the contract I signed with King Robb Stark, not because of the reward. But yeah, and by the way, yeah. So where do Roose Bolton's loyalties really lie? And interesting though how this notion of dubious loyalty is implanted in the reader's mind right after the story of Tywin sitting out the war at Casterly Rock, only to side with the winning side, once it was clear enough to him which one it was, thus betraying a long-time ally. Yeah, the story, the part of the story that Jaime just told us in a tab. Just saying. And in fact, that's all I'll say about it, because I don't know if I've already said that, but in my spoiler policy, in case you, dear listener, might be a first-time reader, my no spoiler policy is that in this series, I will only be looking back and not ahead. So basically, books 1 and 2 and this very book here, but only until the end of this chapter. No further. Yeah, so anyway, moving on. Have you noticed that the phony formality Roose treats Jaime with? Roose Bolton must be the only northerner addressing him as Sir Jaime, as opposed to King Slayer. Kerry King Slayer, guitarist from Slayer. Oh, I can't believe it. I only noticed it now. Oh my God, is that... Oh, George. Okay, anyway. Right after that, Roose gives us a lot, and I mean a lot, of interesting info dump. And I mean info dump in a good sense, because at this point in the book, let's face it, a reader is starved for info, updates, anything that's going on out there. The war effort, alliances, what's going on, weddings, funerals, whatever. Yeah. So this is what Roose says. I'm slightly paraphrasing, yeah. But speaking of Karstark, yeah, did you know that when I got here at Harrenhal, I found good old Harrion Karstark. That's Rickard Karstark's oldest son. I found him here languishing in one of these cells. Did you know that? Yeah, he got himself captured, poor thing. He got himself captured by them guys on the Lannister payroll. So when I took over, I freed him, took him back under my command, dressed him up for battle, and guess where I sent him? To Duskendale. That's right. Everybody off to do a bit of sacking and pillage in good old Duskendale. Along with Robert Glover and Sir Helman, Tallheart, them guys, in that Duskendale enterprise that is now universally acknowledged to be absolutely pointless, and one might even think designed as a trap to get rid of some of Robb Stark's most loyal bannermen. In fact, I sure do hope nothing bad happens to those guys. Wink, wink. This is still Roose, yeah? Now, of course, Roose, when he says most loyal bannerman, Roose here is referring to a time back when the Karstarks were among Robb Stark's most loyal bannermen. before the whole incident, that turned the Karstarks into Rob's sworn enemies, which at this point both Jaime and Brienne know nothing about, as far as I know. So anyway, he goes on, but you have nothing to fear, Sir Jaime. I'm not interested in that Karstark offer to deliver you to them in exchange for marrying Richard Karstark's daughter. Nah. Oh, by the way, this girl he keeps talking about, Richard Karstark's daughter, what a tongue twister, by the way, is named, is a certain Alice Karstark, Harion's sister. Let's keep this in name. Let's keep this name in mind for when we get to A Dance with Dragons. So anyway, where was I? I'm Roose again, by the way. Oh, yeah. Why am I not interested in the Karstark offer, you say? Why, Sir Jaime? I'm already married, I will have you know. Yeah, that's right. Last time I was at the Twins, guest of the phrase. Incidentally, right before Robb ordered me to take Karstark's Glovers and Tallhards under my command and head here to Harrenhal to recapture this castle, this very castle here. Somehow, I also had time to marry one of old Walder Frey's daughters. A gal named Walda. Yeah, busy week that was, I tell you. Oh, which Walda, you say? Because they're all named Walda. Yeah, good point. Yeah, well, that was an easy choice, actually. You see, because old Walder Frey promised me that the dowry would match his daughter's weight in silver. So I just went ahead and picked me the gal with the highest BMI. Rather clever of me, I thought. Yes. Terribly clever. All of that, by the way, happened in a Clash of Kings, Catelyn 5, in case you forgot. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. Those all interesting plot strands that will also, be tied up at some point. Meanwhile, Jaime is struggling with the bread. Yeah, you got so the wine and now the bread. He's trying to hold it with his stomp while tearing it with his remaining hand. And this time Roose stops pretending to ignore the awkwardness and decides to have his cupbearer / squire help him out. Could it be, I wonder, because sucking up time is drawing near? Sucking up to the Lannisters, you see. The cupbearer / squire, incidentally, is that Frey kid, Elmer Frey, who was initially betrothed to Arya. They actually met right here in Harrenhal back in Clash of Kings, though they were completely unaware of the marriage engagement to each other's. Each was part of the deal between the marriage deal that was part of the deal between Team Stark / Tully and the Freys, before Robb threw it all out of the window by marrying that Jane Poole instead of one of old Walder Frey's daughter, one of his daughters, as per contract. Which, by the way, is the next thing Roose informs the guests about. He goes, yeah, that's right, guys, he says. The only people tying the knot at the Twins right now will be Robb Stark's uncle Edmure and Rosalind Frey. And they all go, what? Why, yes, Sir Jaime, yes. Robb has gone and married this Jane Westerling, from House Westerling, predictably. You might remember those guys, sworn bannermen to your father Tywin. You might remember him. Jaime just goes, yeah, Westerlings. Ah, yeah, sure, old family, very proud, very broke too. And at this point, Brienne lives up to the impression Jaime has of her, i.e. of a naive and stubborn child, or a very young and impetuous gal, because she goes, no way, sir, no. Robb would never break his promise. Oi. That's Roose replies, oi. You calling me a liar, huh? That's Roose, yeah. He doesn't exactly say that, okay? This dialogue is paraphrased, as I might have already said. But yeah, things are beginning to get tense between Ruse and Brienne. I mean, he does call her my lady, but still. And I have to read you this quote of what Jaime is thinking. I just have to. He goes, Jaime felt almost sorry for Robb Stark. He won the war on the battlefield and lost it in a bedchamber. Poor fool. Yeah, because he lost an alliance by, breaking the contract with the Freys and marrying someone else, as opposed to old Walder's daughter. Yeah, because and Jaime feels sorry for Robb almost, because he's thinking like a soldier. Remember, he swore revenge to the young wolf just in the previous POV chapter, but to see him shooting his own foot like that, that doesn't sit right with Jaime. So Ruse goes on, yeah, and that's basically the reason Elmer Frey here, as you can see, this cupbearer that's standing here right behind me. It's the reason why he's without a fiancée, because you see, he was supposed to marry Arya Stark, which was just hearing the name Arya Stark mentioned, Brienne's ear lift up. Oh yeah, that's right. What's the news on Arya Stark? Let me get back to the page. And this is where Roose Bolton says something puzzling. For a first-time reader, anyway. He goes, yeah, no worries. She was lost for a bit, but she has been found. And now she's going to be returned safe and sound to the north. I remember that of this entire chapter, naive and bushy-tailed reader that I was, this was, on my first read, this was the bit that most stood up with me. Because I thought, okay, wait a minute. It was amusing at first, because Roose Bolton and people on his payroll were indeed looking for Arya. We knew that. Simultaneously, that's why I'm coming to the amusing part, because they were looking for her simultaneously in the right and in the wrong places. I'm saying this because just like Ramsay, was sending his men across the north in the search for Bran and Rickon, also Roose, or some Bolton men, as we learn here, were presumably looking for Arya in and around the Crown Lands, correctly assuming that she had fled King's Landing somehow. So those were the wrong places. Simultaneously, however, some of the Bloody Mummers were after Arya in the Riverlands, which was the right place, but not on account of her being Arya. No. As far as they were concerned, the Bloody Mummers, they were chasing after Roose's young cupbearer, named, don't remember, Ari, Nan, I forgot. Arya changes identities more often than she changes clothes. But anyway, and the reason they were chasing after the cupbearer, Ari or Nan, whatever her name happened to be, the reason was because of those naughty little things that she had done in Harrenhal. Stealing Roose's dagger, not to mention 3 swords and 3 horses, disappearing with Gendry and Hot Pie, as well as casually murdering a guard. Naughty little things. But anyway, last we saw Arya. This is the thing that stuck with me, that jumped at me. Like, what's going on? Arya's been found? Because the last time we saw Arya, she had successfully lost her tail, the Bloody Mummers, and was presently with the Brotherhood without banners, confronting Sandor Clegane, a.k.a. the Hound. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, she was saying. And that was it. But now that Roose Bolton has said what he has said, does that mean that the team of Bloody Mummers has somehow resumed pursuit? Even that Dothraki who lost an arm in the process? Oh yeah, that's right, because Arya warged with Nymeria, the direwolf, and bit an arm off the Dothraki brave companion. Zollo, I forgot the name right now. I think it's Zollo. Could it be? No, it wasn't the same who chopped off Jaime's hand. Oh, I think I'm getting my facts muddled up. Okay, anyway, yeah, there was a Dothraki whose arm was bitten off by Nymeria, who was being warged, if that's how if that's the the expression. She was being warged by Arya. So, did they somehow resume pursuit and track down Arya at whatchamacallit, the Hollow Hill? The Brotherhood Without Banners secret hideout, and somehow identified her as Arya Stark and presumably killed a whole bunch of Brothers Without Banners, because we don't expect them you wouldn't expect them to give Arya without a fight. And then maybe, it's this kind of thing that we will only learn all about in a flashback, in a future Arya POV chapter. Yeah, that's right, dear listener. This, believe it or not, that was what went through my head the first time I read this chapter. Just this one sentence, casually dumped there by Bruce Bolton. Arya Stark has been found. I'll keep I'll keep the rest to myself. Who this Arya? Never mind. Shut up, Salsa. No spoilers, I promised. Okay, so yeah, be it as it may, Brienne makes it a point to remind Roose of the other Stark girl as well, just so we don't forget that in her contract, she's supposed to deliver both Arya and Sansa back to Mummy in Riverrun. Terms to which Tyrion agreed upon conditions that Jaime be returned to good old King's Landing. But Roose is all like, I'll tell you what, yeah, I trust the Lannister as far as I can throw him. If you know what I mean. Did you know that those guys, the Lannisters are like, compulsive liars? But Jaime won't have none of that. He goes, yeah, mate, yeah, how would you like it if I stabbed you in the eye with this blunt knife? But that's like so rude, as indeed Roose reminds Jaime, because he goes, I have to read you the quote. I just keep reading your quotes, don't I? Here he goes, this is lovely. Tis scarcely chivalrous to threaten your host over his own cheese and olives. I mean, you can do it over roast beef, but over cheese and olives, no, we won't have that. Because I will have you know, dear sir, that in the North, we hold the laws of hospitality sacred still. Mm-hmm. Which is all kinds of funny, really, what Roose just said here, because if you are not a first-time reader, you will find this funny, won't you? The host is sacred, the guest is sacred. Roose, the guest is sacred, the host is sacred. Of course, you would never dream of violating the rules of hospitality, would you, Roose? Anyway, I'll keep silent about that. Anyway, this is where Jaime and Roose start their how can I call it, word fencing, battle of wits, because I'm not your guest. You're not my host and I'm not your guest. I'm your captive. Not only that, but people on your payroll are responsible for the loss of my hand. So there's that. Yeah? How do you think my daddy is going to take that? That's Jaime, in case you didn't know. And Roose is all like, yeah, whatever, this is how much I care, But I wouldn't underestimate the Lannisters' friendship. It's got a lot of perks, And Bolton is still like, I don't know about that. But he does order little Elmer to carve a slice of roast for Jaime. It's all these subtleties, that kind of punctuate the game these two are playing. And meanwhile, Brienne keeps insisting on her mission, which is to return Jaime safe and sound to King's Landing in return for the Stark girls, okay? Except her position is a bit untenable when you think about it, because really, if we want to split hairs, her mission runs contrary to Robb's policy. Freeing Jaime, having been done behind Robb's back, King Robb, King Robb's back, and behind and contravention of King Robb's policies. We all know that. And Roose reminds her of that. He goes, I don't serve your employer, Catelyn Stark, my lady. I serve the king in the north, you see. Or indeed, the king who lost the north, as some are calling him. Oh, not me. No, not me, of course. I wouldn't dream of calling him that, even though I just did. But yeah, do chill, my lady, because you'll be pleased to know that Jaime will be returned to King's Landing. Yeah? Happy now? Now, of course, there's that little problem that Vargo Hoat has created for me. You know, Jaime, why that adorable psychopath has chopped your sword hand off. Sorry, let me just... that's so rude, but I think I'm coming down with a cold. Could it be the winds of winter? Oh my God! Yeah, I know. At the time of recording this, the winds of winter hasn't yet come out. I hope, dear listener, that you're listening to this. Well, that you're listening to this at all. You're listening to this in a better time where you can just, walk to your bookshelf and just casually grab your very own copy of The Winds of Winter. At the moment, that's still not a reality. Now, anyway, so Roose says this to Jaime. Do you know why? Vargo Hoat, that adorable psychopath, has chopped your sword hand off? And Jaime goes, duh, because he's a psychopath? Nah, Jaime boy, listen up, listen up. And this, dear listener, is my second source of puzzlement in this chapter, because does what Roose Bolton say next make a hell of a lot of sense to you? Here it goes. Okay, and so ostensibly, Vargo Hoat realized that all was lost at some point. That, I guess, is how you can summarize his motivations. It was all well and good as long as he and his so-called brave companions could count on keeping Harrenhal, the prize they were given by Roose Bolton, for betraying their former employer, Tywin Lannister, and essentially switching sides and doing what could be loosely described as fighting for the northern cause. Okay, first of all, what? What exactly was Vargo Hoat and his bloody mummers planning to do with Harrenhal? Graduate in society from mercenaries to landlords? I mean, from sellswords to feudal lords? With the trusty help of people like Zollo, Biter, those guys? Really? Becoming farmers? And this has been pointed out, or this question has been asked by smarter people than yours truly, like Preston Jacobs in a video titled "Storm is Great, but also Sloppy." Also, a more concise version exists out there on YouTube, uploaded by someone else. It's called "These Storm of Swords plot points make no sense." It's basically just the same plot points, distilled from that longer video by Preston Jacobs, minus the Q&A that follows. Whenever you get a chance, check them out. I would recommend Preston Jacobs' original upload because, he's the author. So why shouldn't we go to the very source first? But anyway, it was all very well and jolly good for Vargo as long as he thought he could retire and become a farmer in Harrenhal. That is, as long as he thought he would get to keep the damn place. And the only way this could happen for him was if the aforementioned Tywin lost the the war. But things being as they are, Stannis having lost the battle of the Blackwater and Robb not looking so good himself, the possibility of Tywin winning the war, recapturing Harrenhal, and of course slaughtering and butchering the shit out of Vargon and every one of the bloody mummers in the process, down to the last idiot. that possibility was becoming more and more of a reality. Okay, I get that, with reservations, but I get that. And so what does Vargo Hout do at this point? Does he do what every sensible person would do and turn to his men, the bloody mummers, and go, all right, peeps, all right, gather round, listen up, yeah? Okay, so we had a good run here in Westeros, but things are getting a bit pear-shaped right now. So I'll tell you what, we're heading back to ASOS, where war is always a good business, and then take it from there, yeah? All right? It's either that or every man for himself. Bye, ciao, ciao. But no, he doesn't do that. No. He just waits around. Oh, by the way, before I forget, Roose is also saying that Robb Stark's situation isn't looking so good right now because, and I quote, Robb has won every battle while losing the Freys, the Karstarks, Winterfell, and the North. Two things. A, wasn't he just saying like a minute ago that someone would say Robb has lost the North, but certainly not him? Well, turns out that someone is Roose himself. No, but more importantly, B, what does he mean he has also lost the Freys? I mean, didn't he just say that a marriage was going to take place between Robb's uncle Edmure and the Roslyn Frey gal? Precisely for the purpose of patching things up between the Stark, Tullys, and the Freys. So what is he on about? Or rather, these two statements maybe point to one single question. What does Roose Bolton know that we readers don't? First-time readers, at any rate. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now. So yeah, what was I saying? So what does Vargo do? He just waits around at Harrenhal, killing time, knowing his days are numbered, until by random chance, the gods, to use Roose's parlance, the gods deliver Jaime right into his hands. So according to Roose, this is how the cogs start spinning in Vargo's head. He knows he's supposed to grab Jaime and escort him to Harrenhal, because what to do with a guy is not his call. That's too valuable a hostage. It's his employer's, Roose's, call. And what could Roose do with the guy is basically one of two things, Vargo is thinking. He could do like a loyal northerner and have him taken right back to Riverrun, where Robb will put him in his usual room, his cell, with twice the amount of guards this time. Or, and the fact that even Vargo contemplates this second possibility should give even a first-time reader pause, but the clues are all over the place by now. But anyway, the other thing Roose could do with Jaime is return him to the Lannisters to ingratiates himself to Tywin. So at this point, Vargo figures, what if I make it impossible? Aha! This is my plan, because I'm smart. What if I make it impossible for Roose to do either thing? If I cause the guy, Jaime, an injury, and not just any old injury, if I remove his sword hand, which is essentially what makes Jaime what he is, the Kingslayer, the fact that you have the Kingslayer in your possession will make him more of a liability than an asset. Because look, the Northerners at Riverrun who wanted Jaime to use him as a bargaining chip are now likely to go, whoa. The product isn't in the same mint condition as it was before you handled it. You broke it. And now we can hardly use it as a bargaining chip with his father Tywin, who's not going to rejoice when his son is returned to him, minus a hand. In fact, if anything, he's probably going to be even more pissed off with us. Not to mention that knowing what an eye for an eye kind of guy, Tywin is, whatever prisoners he has to give us in exchange, namely the king's sisters, the Stark sisters are also going to be returned to us in the same conditions, minus a hand. Not cool, Roose. Not cool. Bad Bannerman. Bad Bannerman. No, 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 no. So yeah, this is what Vargo thinks would be the Northerners' reaction if Roose returns Jaime to them minus a hand, which supposedly is the reason why Vargo chops off Jaime's hand. And needless to say, the same applies to the other tack. Returning Jaime to Tywin, you don't exactly ingratiate yourself to the man by returning his son to him minus a hand. So, and the whole argument, oh no, but you see, it was that moron Vargo who maimed Jaime, not me. Yeah, no, Roose can't use the old "it wasn't me" argument. Ultimately, he bears responsibility for what his people on his payroll do. End of story. So according to Roose, yeah, that's what Vargo thought at this point. A handless Jaime is of no use to Mr. Bolton now, so maybe he let me keep it. Yeah, he followed me home. Can I keep him? And once I get to keep him, I will deliver him to the Karstarks. So you really did mean to do that, actually. I will deliver him to the Karstarks, who, in this new equation, are the only house who can offer me land, a bride, and safe shelter from both the Crown in King's Landing and the Northerners. Really, Vargo? Really? That's your plan? Do you realize, Vargo, dear boy, do you realize how many moving parts there are in this harebrained... I mean, look at how many things could go wrong. Off the top of my head, who's to say that Roose is not going to skin you alive for that small difficulty you have created for him, as Roose himself calls it? I mean, just read A Clash of Kings. This is a guy who contemplated having Arya's tongue cut off for speaking out of turn. So yeah, Arya, a girl of 9. So you think he's going to think twice before skinning Vargo out alive? But anyway, be it as it may, Roose Bolton's proposition is this. Okay, so I do want to return you to your father. Yeah, Jaime. I said it. I said I would do it. I will do it. As long as you sing a song about me to him, how innocent I am of your maiming, and how I had you well treated by my so-called maester, Qyburn, and I even offered you prunes. Yeah, I mean, so no hard feelings, yeah? All right, shake hand. Oops, sorry. We don't shake on it. It's just, maybe just spit on each other's face as a sign of mutual reciprocal respect here in the North. So anyway, Jaime doesn't even have to think about it. He just goes, yeah, all right, I'll tell you what, mate. Tell you what. I've been away from my sister for like a bunch of months now. Don't know exactly how long. So as long as you send me on my way pronto, you've got yourself a deal. Indeed. To which Roose replies with a sentence Jaime has probably never heard in his entire life. He goes, I will hold you to your word, sir. So there. Now help me out, dear listener, because Brienne here says something a bit strange to me, actually, because she goes, all right, yeah, well, that's all well and good, provided Lady Catelyn's daughters are delivered safe and whole as well, because the girls are my charge. Okay, that's not the strange part. The strange part is what she says after. Roose gives them news of the latest celebrity wedding. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Sansa is not even... tell you what, Sansa's not going anywhere. Dearie. She's married to Tyrion now. Meh, yeah, one of those things, The latest celebrity marriage. And this is where Brienne says something that has me scratching my head, because she goes, the imp, but he swore before the whole court in sight of gods and men. Okay, yes, she says that, but when exactly did that happen? I mean, in fact, when did Brienne even see Tyrion Lannister in the flesh? She enters the story at Bitterbridge, Catelyn 2 in a Clash of Kings, while Tyrion is already safe and sound, okay, just sound, in King's Landing, inspecting the wildfire stockpile and whatnot. Now, to be honest with you, I don't even remember whether Brienne was present when Cleos Lannister returned to Riverrun, saying that the terms offered by Robb Stark were unacceptable to the crown, namely that the Stark girls should be returned to Catelyn in exchange for Jaime's release, and that the King Joffrey leave the North, free to do its own thing. But okay, she might have overheard that, kind of like secondhand. But as far as she's concerned, the only person who swore to those terms, returning the Stark girls, was Jaime Lannister, and under duress at that. So am I missing something here? Help me out. If your memory is not as faulty as mine, when did Brienne hear Tyrion swear before gods and men? Anyway. Not that any of that matters, actually, because the thing Roose says next sends old readers chills down their spines. Because he goes, yeah, don't worry about that, my lady. You're not going anywhere either. Jaime might be leaving, but you're staying right here as a prize for Vargo. So he actually rewards the guy. So yeah, a prize for Vargo, so he can collect the ransom from your dad, sapphires apparently. Which, what the hell? I mean, I don't mean the sapphire. We know the whole story was bogus, but Selwyn Tarth doesn't own two sapphires to rub together. No, but I mean Roose. I said Roose is actually rewarding Vargo Hout for, the pain in the ass that he's just been. Bah. You figure that out. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, dear listener, we'll have time to ponder on those points, because this is where Jaime V from A Storm of Swords ends. Wow, what an exhausting chapter that was. Stay with us for the next commentary, where Tyrion meets a certain Dornish man with hilarious consequences. So there. Wow. Well, if you stuck with me this far, well, what can I say? Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your thank you for listening in general. And if you do like this kind of content, don't forget to do blah, 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 all of the things that people do when they like content. As for me, that's all for me. That's all from me, rather. I got to get my prepositions right, and look forward to speaking to you again. Bye-bye.